We had the possibility of integrating it directly into the Francophone system, which was the majority of the population, 80%. But I believe they have held on to their own identity, and that is why we have instituted this in the Anglophone zone. But they will remain within the territorial integrity of Cameroon. I have Terence Bangawaka on the phone, and I'm going to have a discussion with Terence and see where things are going. And Terence, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Yes, I really want to. I think we, throughout our programming on this particular channel, we have been bringing our audiences along. What I want to start today is what has just happened within I think a week ago, when Paul Biya was in France. Did you watch that piece?
Yes, I watched the piece.
Nous avons été d'abord colonie allemande, ensuite.
We were first of all colonized by Germany, and then after the First World War, Germany lost its colonies, and this one was divided between Britain and France. My country was divided. One part was colonized by Britain and the other by France. We were faced with a juxtaposition of two cultures and civilizations, and this made things delicate. We did all to bring equality of the two languages, the English language and the French language. But the mentality, the educational system, the judicial system were different. We therefore had a conflict and decided to give to the part of my country that was colonized by Britain a special status. But it will remain within the unity of the nation. This is the problem we have resolved. We had the possibility of integrating it directly into the Francophone system, which was the majority of the population, 80%. But I believe they have held on to their own identity, and that is why we have instituted this in the Anglophone zone. But they will remain within the territorial integrity of Cameroon.
Mais elle reste dans l'intégrité territoriale du Cameroun.
And let me first of all get your take on what you saw or what you heard.
I heard a man who went to France and lied. He lied that French Cameroon was the successor state to the German entity called German Cameroon. In that lie, he assumed the position which has been expressed by French criminals. I call them French criminals because they have exhibited with evidence that they committed a crime by annexing the southern Cameroon to La République du Cameroon. So he continued in telling that lie that as the successor state to German Cameroon, they have the right to assimilate the people of the southern Cameroon. If that were so, he would not have acknowledged his failure to carry out that criminal action of annexation.
Okay, why don't you state so what is the truth as different from that lie?
The truth of the matter is that there was a German entity called German Cameroon. Parts of German Cameroon are today in Nigeria, in Chad, in Gabon, in Equatorial Guinea, in Congo Brazzaville, in the Central African Republic, in French Cameroon, and obviously in Ambazonia. That was the entity that was German Cameroon. In order to make the claim of the French and Mr. Biya acceptable, well, let them reconstitute that which was German Cameroon. So that is the truth as opposed to the lie that Mr. Paul Biya told in Paris.
Well, on top of I think you just named only one German territory in Africa. I think you should add Namibia to that. You should add Togoland to that. Those were the territories that were German territories. They were not Cameroon territories. They were not French territories. Those were German territories, which, when the German lost the war, they were liquidated. Those were not the territories of La République du Cameroon to come and think that they can claim right now. Those were German territories, and they lost them, and then those territories went their own way. Isn't it?
That's correct. Another point which we must make, and I think which most observers and writers and analysts about what was German Cameroon mistake, is that the French and the English did not become colonial masters of those German territories. Those territories ceased to be colonies after the Germans were defeated. Those were supposed to be mandated territories under a French mandate and under a British mandate.
Mm-hmm.
They evolved to trust territory under the French trust and under the British trust. They were never to be considered as colonies of the French or the British. The fact that the French governed the République du Cameroun, or that territory, as a colony, well, is due to the negligence of the people of the République du Cameroun themselves. But we must give credit to an organization in La République du Cameroun, the UPC. They were the first people who said that, you know what, Mr. France, this is not your colony. This is a mandate. Do not rule us as if we are a colonial territory of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that became the punishment. The UPC earned the punishment and the hatred of the French because they were intelligent enough for Negroes to recognize that they were not a colony of France, but a mandate. And they were not supposed to be governed like a colony. They should be governed like a mandate.
Yes.
And on the other side, if you study the history carefully, you will notice that the British also made an attempt to append British Cameroon into Nigeria,
yes,
which the League of Nations refused. And that's why they had to recreate what was the British Cameroon. We were never supposed to be colonies of either the British or the French. We were supposed to be mandated territory, which graduated to United Nations Trust territories, and were supposed to be led to independence.
Yes.
That is the accurate history, and that is the history that either Mr. Biya does not know or pretends he doesn't know.
No, I just want to go back to one thing, and I want to make this point, and this will be the last point I want to make about this whole La République thinking that it is Germany to reclaim its territory. I think lawyer Bobga has made the argument that
there were a lot of satellite territories that were part of German Cameroon, and we consider that the cumulative effect of the defeat of Germany in the First World War and in the Second World War was a definitive liquidation of German possession. Otherwise, if they want to go into the theory of restoration of German Cameroon doggedly, then it should be restored and given to Germany, not to France. So here we are. The people simply had an expansionist policy, and they were willing to assimilate Southern Cameroon. So it plays out on the 30th of September, the eve of the date slated for emergence to independence of Southern Cameroon, for Southern Cameroon's emergence to independence. How did it work out? As soon as East Cameroon was independent, well, the Republic of Cameroon, La République du Cameroun became independent, Britain was one of the first to post their ambassador there. And he was charged to seal the deal that had been struck between Champs-Élysées and Buckingham Palace over Southern Cameroon. That is to say, the normal legal procedure in liquidation of an agreement, particularly in this case, a trusteeship agreement, was never respected.
If we claim that La République, that the history of Ambazonia is tied with the history of La République through a German, then those territories should be reconstituted and given back to Germany, not to somebody else. But I like the history that you just went through in terms of these being either mandates of the League of Nations or trust territories with very specific rules or laws or ends to these territories. But would you say that for some reason people want to conveniently forget about this, partly because just like Mitterrand said that in Africa or in places like Africa, genocide is not important. In Africa, the law is not important. Would you say that?
I would say that. But in addition to that, there's something which I think is very sinister, which is at play here. You have an interest in that part of Africa, which is defending the benefits of colonial occupation, of colonial legacy, right? Mm-hmm. The greatest benefactor of the colonial legacy in this part that we're talking about is the French. It's a European entity, right? Mm-hmm. And what is being defended globally is an idea, it's a philosophy of white supremacy. Let us go straight to the point. It's a philosophy of white supremacy. Because here you have white people, French people, Europeans, who are looting both Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, using a tool in the name of Mr. Paul Biya, who could care less about his people, who doesn't talk to them, who doesn't address them, and then goes to Paris and tells a easily discoverable lie. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to say is that there is an interest of the European, of the French especially, at play here. There is a doctrine of white supremacy, which has the power to quote James Baldwin, which has the power to intimidate any possible witness for those who have been dispossessed, those who are being colonized, those who are being wiped out. And Mr. Biya stands as one of those who refuses to be a witness for his people, but instead promotes the ideas of white supremacy. There are many of us like that in Africa, there are many of them like that in Cameroon, and there are many of them like that even within us in Ambazonia, who either consciously or unconsciously promote this ideal which propagates this doctrine of white supremacy. And we have to say it exactly the way it is. Let us not mince our words and talk about little things that obfuscate the bigger picture that we're dealing with here.
I really thank you for that expansion. Let me ask you this. So, after the lie, and you notice that nobody corrected him, nobody corrected Paul Biya in Paris about that lie, but I think we've just done that. So, there was another, that's not all he said in Paris.
Could you repeat that, please?
I said the lie you just expanded on is not the only thing that Paul Biya said in Paris. What else did he talk about? Because really the question was for him to address the situation in Ambazonia.
Yes, but when you start by telling a lie, then how do you propose to remedy the situation? Remedies rely on facts, on truth, right?
Yes.
So he started by telling a lie and then proposes a remedy which is based on a lie which will go nowhere. The remedy Mr. Paul Biya proposes is that he will give a quote what he calls a special status to these people that they've tried to assimilate and failed in assimilating. Well, in that case, he has told the truth. Let's give him credit for telling us the truth, but it's not a truth that is new. In one of my appearances on SPT, we read the quote from Mr. Pierre Messner in his memoir. Mm-hmm. where he acknowledged the crime that France and Britain committed. In his memoir, in his arrogance, in the pursuit of that doctrine of white supremacy, he said French experts carried out the annexation of our country. That's a crime. That's a crime that Biya wants to perpetuate.
No, I think Paul Biya admitted to that, and he admitted. Did you think he admitted to it in error at the point of weakness? Because he was obviously rattled, and he said it himself that he was rattled by not allowing him to read from his script.
Can you speak in the mic, please? No, speak here. Yeah? No, it's okay. It's okay. Speak. We can hear. We can hear. Yeah. Speak here.
Understand me? So I am completely embarrassed because I brought some words to say. I would like to do this.
Yes, Mr. President. Can you want to make a statement, please? 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes, Mr. President. I know you are a president, but here we are all equal. If you don't mind, I hope you don't mind. This is civil society organization. For a moment, we are bosses.
Go.
Please.
Go.
Paul Biya is a Frenchman in black. He thinks as a Frenchman. The generation of the Paul Biyas were identified, groomed to work as tools for the French establishment. That's what, when he's speaking in his mind, subconsciously he's speaking as a Frenchman. They used to call themselves nous les petits Français. I've seen a video of Semenge calling himself that. Semenge is the man who was conducting the beheading of fellow Africans during the so-called pacification campaign.
Yes.
He calls himself nous les petits Français, right? So
yes.
They're French people. That's the way they consider themselves. They're cosmopolitan, right?
Yes.
They're these cosmopolitan European people or French people who are out there subconsciously promoting this idea, this doctrine of white supremacy. And that's what we are against. And that's what we do not want our people to buy into this. We certainly do not want our brothers and sisters in La République to buy into this. And we definitely do not want our Amazonian people to buy into this by subscribing to this nonsense called the spatial status. Who gives them the right to give us a spatial status?